Alright, we're getting started here. This is People Talk to John, episode 1. How you doing, Walker? How you doing tonight?
Pretty great.
So, Walker, how did I get you roped into this? Just to remind everybody.
You asked me 5 minutes ago if you wanted to do a podcast for your school, and I said yes.
Okay, and so yeah, that's a pretty good explanation of how we got here. How we got here is a pretty interesting story, and so I told you I wanted to talk to you about technology, and specifically I wanted to talk about prosthetics. So like,
I think prosthetics are really interesting because well, they kind of give life back to a lot of like people that have kind of either haven't had certain abilities since birth or have had it like kind of taken away from them due to various incidents. But and it also opens ideas to actual just biological improvement in general.
so I'm not gonna lie. When I was thinking of prosthetics, I was thinking like, I was thinking in that way, but I was also thinking kind of like, what if you had a prosthetic that made you better than like having a regular hand, you know?
Oh yeah, like is it like the thing where it's like if you had the option to get get your legs cut off and then
Yeah, something like that.
legs off, like would you take it?
Uh-huh.
See-
Would you?
I don't know, cause like I feel like it would be very like awkward, and plus like as prosthetics are right now, you like need to recharge them, and they only last for like 3 to 6 hours.
Really? I didn't know you had to recharge them.
I'm pretty sure it was like a thing. I mean, like they don't get energy from anywhere else. I don't think, unless it's like a very. Because at least a couple that I've seen, my friend Luke, his dad is a pretty enhanced prosthetic, and it's pretty much like a normal hand, but it runs on a lot of electrical parts. So he has to recharge it.
Like
And I
a
don't know how
lot?
long battery
Like
life
several
is,
times a
but
day?
I wouldn't be surprised if it was several times a day, and I think you can get like extensions too, because like I've seen some that have like a battery pack that's like connected to it that you could hide under your shirt or sleeve or something.
Huh.
But it's like, you know, it comes with its draws. Like you can be stronger,
Right.
but at the same time you can like, you know, you have to kind of make sacrifices.
So like, but what about in the future, right? Like 50 years from now. I'm pretty sure at 50 years from now prosthetics are going to be like so advanced that like, imagine you're just like chilling in your room, right? Like sitting in your chair and you're like, oh, the remote's all the way across the room. You just like shoot your hand down, like grab the remote and bring it back to you. Like stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that would be a really cool I don't know if I would purposely like take off my arm so I could do that though. I don't think that would really be that. Maybe exosuits or something like that, even though it's not really a prosthetic because it's like not. But it's
an
like a
outside
similar
thing.
idea.
It's like you don't really have to like sacrifice too much when you get a exosuit involved.
Yeah, exactly. But like I said, an exosuit isn't really prosthetic. Did you know that people in the Olympics, there's like, I think it's called like Paralympics or something like that?
Yeah.
That people compete and they don't have legs, so they use prosthetic legs that look like I don't even know how to describe it. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Have you seen? Yeah, no, I do. Have you seen like actual footage from that? Garrett's trying. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, I have. I've seen that. I saw one video, and I'm pretty sure any of them could beat me in a race because they're really fast.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the like thing about prosthetics is just like a lot of people really like what they have right now, and it's like really hard to kind of like. It's also an investment as well. It's
Why do you
like,
say that?
So like as of now, like maybe 50 years in the future, it's going to be more like accessible, but as of now, it's very hard to get a good prosthetic. Like insurance.
Like an advanced one?
Yeah, like insurance will probably try. Like insurance will usually try to give you something that like you know works but isn't that good.
Like just like the bare minimum, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's how they kind of make their money. Is like you don't get the best of the best when you go through insurance companies.
Yeah,
so
that
it's
makes sense.
more for the like people that can afford it, rather.
That kind of
So
sucks.
Yeah, it honestly it does suck because like some people like really like if you are like in any way kind of crippled like with like the loss of a limb or anything, it really does kind of stop you from doing certain things, like say like physical labor, that sort of thing. Of course they can still do it, they just might be a bit handicapped at it.
You saying that kind of makes me think that like people that work in the military and stuff and are risking having their limbs like taken off from like whatever, like if they're stationed somewhere in the Middle East, like
Yeah.
and then they get their limb like taken off by some explosion or something. I feel like there should be some sort of insurance for like if you're a military personnel, just because like you're running that risk all the time.
Actually, so I had a coworker for a little bit who he was in the Middle East, and he was on an armored APC with a turret on top.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't have like a good like kind of seating arrangement on top while he was in the turret. So it took a bump and he slid back and it kind of like shattered one of his vertebrae, and he got compensated.
Like one of the plates?
Yeah, like it kind of like dislocated like the plate from the vertebrae, and the vertebrae got cracked. So it really like he got paralyzed for a little bit, but he's good now. But he got
like he recovered.
Yeah, he recovered. He still like has problems every now and then, like he can't move his leg like as well as he wants to. But most of the time, it's like fine.
So he straight up just got paralyzed from that.
Yeah, he got
but then
paralyzed
he
from that,
got
and
he got compensated. Like
yeah,
he went to the
gets, like,
hospital
a
and
lot of
everything.
money. Like he didn't tell me specifics, but like he got discharged and he got a pretty nice amount of money. Like, and it's like a monthly thing. He gets better insurance.
So I actually didn't know that. I would hope that that's true, because like for every single person that's in the military, that's at least like putting their lives like in danger to do that. It just makes sense to me, I think, to be doing that. To provide some sort of insurance for those people that are risking their lives and stuff. What sucks is that I think it's a good system. I think like if you're gonna be doing that, then obviously like we're gonna pay for you if you get like hurt or whatever.
Yeah, if like you're hurt, and especially in like a way that could be totally avoided as well.
Like what?
Like if his seat had been like better made or like protected, then that wouldn't have happened to him. It's kind of like it wasn't his fault that he got injured.
Okay, I see.
So that's why it was like a
so
big
like
thing.
Especially if the problem could have been solved like a long time ago or whatever.
Yeah, it's like if he's not the one at fault and he just got kind of like screwed over in the situation, then he should be getting compensated for that.
Yeah, no kidding. That just sounds
life.
really painful for
They don't
and it's for such a dumb mistake too, like just not having the seat done properly or
just,
like made properly.
It went over like a bad bump and he got paralyzed.
That's kind of crazy if you think about it. Just like a small bump in the road caused him to, even if it was temporary, like still, dude, that's kind of crazy.
It was like for like a year though. It was like he had to be in a
like in a recovery center.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that a year without being able to use your legs does not sound very fun at all. Yeah, me too. So like, but people like that, it's kind of hard to say that like that insurance should be given to everyone too. Like, just like regular people who are born without limbs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just because like money is an issue in that case.
Oh yeah, of course.
Because I know the government funds the military like a lot more than like everything else, pretty much.
Yeah.
But like those people that are born without it, it's kind of just, if they're not wealthy, they're kind of screwed, right? They just get like what they can, basically.
It really depends a lot on the situation the person finds themselves in. Like if it's like your average everyday Joe, like say middle class person, they can probably afford it after a certain amount of saving up, or like maybe even just in general, like they can probably afford it and insurance can cover a little bit of it. But like say like you're kind of lower class, like it's gonna be hard to get something like that's just as good as a hand.
Right.
Is just as good as a hand. Not enough funding is put into it, so you know the good stuff is still pretty far off.
I wonder if that sort of thing is kind of happening in other countries where insurance is like free, like universal. Like I doubt it's as
Oh,
good, but
yeah,
like at
no.
least they're getting something. I don't know.
That's kind of a thing with like that's like one of the big arguments with like socialist ideals is that you
Yeah.
know everyone gets free healthcare, but the healthcare isn't that good. And
Yeah,
it's
the
kind of like
healthcare
the
kind of
same
sucks.
idea. We do that with prisons. We do that with prisons, and like I had a buddy that went to prison for some reason I don't remember, but basically he got an infection in his foot, and they didn't really do anything to him. They just kind of locked him in a room until he was better. Like they didn't give him any
So like,
treatment or anything. Like
even if the
like
treatment
when
was like
healthcare is free, you're
free,
not gonna get anything worthwhile.
that is a good point. Because there really is no way to make it like great for everybody, right? It's
Yeah,
just it's kind of like
it's too much money. It takes too much money to get everyone happy.
I want to compare it to your immune system, like your regular immune system, like your fever. Like you know how if anything invades your body, your core temperature increases like as a universal defense against everything. It's kind of
Yeah.
like that. It kind of sucks against worse infections, but it'll do the job if it's like a very simple infection. So it kind of
Yeah.
reminded me of that in that way.
And it also well, so like there's this universal rule. I don't know, like I don't remember all the examples to it, but it's the 80-20 rule. And one of the examples of it is that 80% of all the healthcare funding goes to 20% of the people.
And those have to be like the worst cases,
So,
right? Or
yeah, so
I would assume.
those are people that are born with like very bad, like you know, genetics, you know, things that cripple them in society, really, like modern day society. Because you really do have to be like, you know, not. You have to be pretty functional in order to like function in at least today's society in America.
I kind of think it's always been that way, unless like at some point where
Oh yeah,
I think
for sure.
I do think
it's a
that
lot
today
better
it's more
nowadays
accepted. I think it's a lot more
Yeah.
accepted now.
to be like you know crippled in a certain way.
Yeah,
Trying to
or
find
like
a way to say that, but-
like handicapped maybe,
yeah,
like
that's-
physically handicapped or even mentally handicapped. I don't know,
Okay,
maybe
yeah.
maybe not
No,
mentally
no.
handicapped, but I mean I
Well,
guess a little bit.
You know, there are like advantages to employing mentally handicapped people as well. I think it's some sort of tax relief.
Yeah,
And, like,
you're right.
That's the incentive for it, and I
They
think that's
to
actually an
encourage
amazing system.
hiring them, right?
Yeah, it's an amazing system too because it kind of like relieves strain on certain systems to like you know kind of. Well, actually, I don't know where I'm going.
I would say it kind of. I would say though that it benefits like both people, like the employer and the employee that's getting employed by the employer.
Yeah, for sure. Oh no, where I was going with that is so I don't know if you are aware of this, but so when you are disabled, the government is obligated to give you a certain amount of money, and it varies on your situation. So if you're dependent on someone, they'll probably give you a lower amount of money. I have an eye disease, and like you know, I could be considered disabled, but like not really. And I could apply for disability, but they would only offer me $600 a month, which is like not enough to live off in pretty much any state.
Will they? Do you know if they would take that money away if you were to get a job?
Yeah, so if you earn a certain amount of money within a like a time span, like if you're earning over $500 a month, I think they withdraw their your disability.
Wow, that really sucks.
Yeah, so there's really no way around it. So like you know, if you're good enough to work, they want you to work. They don't want you disability, and that's why I think that those were like incentive programs to hire disabled people are really great, because they give less strain to disability agencies, and they kind of give everyone something to do.
Yeah, I think it's really good for the people they hire too, because it's like a better, higher opportunity to gain more experience.
Yeah.
So that I think that would be like, I know, like, not from my own experience, but my mom said one time, like, she went to a store and or a restaurant, and she was ordering something, and one of the employees had autism, and he was kind of just like ignoring her, but she wasn't like rude or anything like that. But basically, I think they were rude to him, like the other employees, and so my mom just kind of, yeah, that's the one part that kind of sucks.
Yeah. No, you're
Like,
definitely like, no matter where you're gonna go, there's like always gonna be
people that are like that.
are like mean to people that just because they're different.
I
That's
think
just kind of what it is.
once you know that they have a reason to be that way, like at that point, I just don't think it should be. It should get to the point where you're mean to them still. Like,
Oh,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
no, in like a perfect world, everyone should be like, pretty nice to one another.
Like, yeah, I agree.
I don't know.
That's
I
not
think
really
a lot
how
of
it works out.
they're easy targets, really.
Yeah, it's true.
Takes
It's
I don't
hard
know.
to defend yourself when you're like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because there's not really. I don't know, and there's
I think
not
it's
a
a
lot
learned
that's
trait.
there to help them as well.
Yeah, that's true. Not a lot of people are willing to like stand up for those type of people.
That's why I also think like what were we talking about? Prosthetics. They're really
Yeah.
great because they kind of just give more possibility to people.
It's like a second chance, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. It's like, if you lose something like as vital as an appendage to you, getting that back is everything.
Yeah. Even if it's like not the best. That reminds me, are there like hand prosthetics that are able to do like fine motor movements? There are, right? They're just like
Yeah.
way high end.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about with the nice one. My friend Luke's dad, referring back to that, he had one where it sensed the nerve endings in like where his arm was missing, like at the end of it, and it could sense when he was trying to move a singular like appendage, like his thumb or something. So it was able to like make very precise adjustments depending on how strong the signal was and everything. So, because your brain gives off or like electrical currents when it tries to do something with your nerves to make them move.
Right.
Your muscles, rather.
My question is how they connected those those severed nerve endings to the prosthetic, because that sounds like that would be a really tough job.
That's where my knowledge kind of falls off. I assume like it has to be pretty custom, like made to the person, because I know there's custom fittings and whatnot, and that's why they're pretty expensive.
So does that
Sorry,
mean that
expensive
he
as well.
just never takes it off? Because if you take it off, like it's attached to your nerves, right?
No, it's not attached to your nerves. It can sense them through.
Like a medium or
you can
something?
Take it off. Yeah. Wait, what did you say?
I said like a medium or something, like that's in
Yeah.
the actual prosthetic.
Yeah, it can. The prosthetic detects the movements. It's not connected to the prosthetic in any way.
So maybe
So
I'm probably thinking of something else then. Maybe
Are you thinking about,
I'm probably just thinking about like something that doesn't actually exist. Probably.
It's real. You might be thinking about like technological implants like in people, because like I know that is a very like controversial subject as well. Because
Like putting implant like what, for example?
like have you ever like so I don't know if this is true, but I've heard stories that like we can totally get like we could totally do something with technology in our nervous system. The problem is like at that point it's very like it's a very undefined field, and you can only really test it on people. So,
Yeah,
like,
it's kind of hard to test it.
Test subjects, and that's when that kind of gets messy because human testing is not
Like frowned upon, like
it's
ethically
very
wrong.
frowned upon. Yeah, like nobody wants to do that, which I think is also another subject, but
I think if people are willing to volunteer, then they should be allowed to do that.
yeah, no, I fully agree with that.
Like they shouldn't be and testing too.
Yeah, exactly.
I just think I always thought that the way newer prosthetics worked was that like it would connect the actual nerves, but I guess
No.
I guess not.
To my knowledge, I don't think so.
I think if
I think
that was possible,
it detects like muscle flexes and electrical signals.
that makes more sense. Maybe if that were to happen, it would be like, I assume it would be perfect. Like you could just move your prosthetic hand and it would just kind of match what you're actually thinking.
Yeah. Or wait, so are you talking about like if it's like with the muscle movements?
No, like if the nerves are like in the future, if they end up finding a way to actually connect the nerves with, I don't know, some sort of like synthetic nerve that's inside the prosthetic, like maybe the prosthetic could literally just be like, it wouldn't be like kind of like an arm, it would be an arm, a metal arm that's like on you, or a plastic arm or whatever they make it out of.
No, see, it would be like anything's possible in the future. It would be kind of bizarre, I think, in the future though, if like you had the what am I trying to say? Sorry.
Even like an AI arm or something like that could just like understand what you're about to pick up and pick it up or whatever,
Yeah, I think. Well, I think anything's practically anything is possible, like within the future. It's just like it's not practical at the moment to have something like that. I'm sure it's possible, but like it's kind of like going back to like nobody can afford it.
The thought process isn't even really that practical. Just thinking about it, I just feel like it's not possible. But I guess
like
people thought the same thing about cell phones and stuff, so.
Oh yeah.
That's what kind of excites me a little bit about like growing up, and I hope I'm gonna start seeing all these new things and being like, whoa, that's crazy. Because I feel like that's how everybody was doing it like 20 years back, 30 years back.
I saw not too long ago. It was about a year ago, I think, maybe two. And it was this dude. I'm caught up on a lot of like visual kind of like things, like visual aids, that sort of thing.
Right.
There's this man who had a form of macular degeneration.
What's that?
Pretty much like your retina and like macula. They kind of like fade. They kind of stop working and they kind of start dying slowly. So you can't see anything pretty much at that point.
So your retina, like, it just goes away, or like it
That would be retinitis pigmentosa, but macular degeneration is with your macula, I think, which is another part of the eye. I might be wrong on that, but they pretty much do the same thing. Both ways, you go blind.
But what did he do with that, or what happened to him?
So this guy was put into a field study where he got a bionic eye. And that actually is a real thing. So, and it's like a camera that you can hook up and everything, and you can see what he's seeing. But they attached an electromagnetic, like I don't know what you would call it, but basically they sent electromagnetic waves through to his brain somehow, and his brain would read the information like an eyeball. Like he could actually see very like he could see images in black and white, but they were very low pixelated just because the camera quality was very poor. But he was able to see objects
figures
around it. Yeah, and they had him go on a walk. He wouldn't trip on anything. He didn't have a cane. So it was proven that he was able to see, and he was very happy with it. You're still not able to drive or anything.
It's like good enough, right?
It's very much in its infancy. Like it's not going to help you much. Like maybe you can walk to the store now or something. But you still are going to have trouble reading, that sort of thing. But it just kind of shows that we're still in a very infantile state when it comes to like
technology in general, right?
prosthetics, prosthetics, like, like aids, that sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And like,
That sounds really cool, even if it is black and white and like low res. It sounds like it has a lot
yeah.
of room to improve.
Oh yeah, it's really cool. There's a couple of different like companies researching into that. There's like a few. I think there's one that I actually like did a bit of stuff with. It was eSight, and they pretty much have this. It's like a VR headset, but it's very high definition, and it just has a camera on the outside, and it pretty much just shows like an eye that isn't as good how a normal eye works.
Explain what you mean by that.
So when you have something like retinitis pigmentosa, your what is it? It's like so normal vision is 20/20, and then like your vision kind of degrades from there as you have macular degeneration or retinitis pigmentosa, and also you start to lose your peripheral vision at the same time. So what this group aims to do is they sorry. They like kind of want to give people back who still have a bit of vision. They want to give them back their full vision, and that's still an infantile study, so they don't really have a lot going on for them. But they have this headset where they kind of condense a very high resolution photo into a very small place and place it directly into your eyes, so it looks like it's like regular.
Instead of being
kind of like your missing spots, like with retinitis pigmentosa. Because like you really are missing spots. Your brain doesn't know how to comprehend it.
It just looks like a blind spot, right?
It
like not even black.
Like
not even black, but just like gone.
The only time you can see it is because I can still detect light from there. But like if you shine a flashlight directly into my eyes, I can still see it at all.
But not from your peripherals, right?
I can see from my peripherals if you shine a light directly into them, but I can't see detail. I just know light's there.
Like you can just tell that someone's shining a flashlight in your face.
Yeah, exactly. Like if I were to be completely blind, I'd still be able to tell if someone was like shining a flashlight in my face. I just wouldn't be able to see any detail whatsoever.
Is that true?
Mm-hmm.
That if like totally blind, like you don't see anything, you could still sense light, like.
It's because with retinitis pigmentosa, the pigment of your retina slowly dies out over time. And, that's not to say all of it dies. It's because of a lack of nutrition. You're still getting nutrition, but you don't have as much as a normal person would.
Like enough?
Yeah, to sustain your, your current retina, cell count. So at some point, I'm going to, lose as many as I can, and then I'm going to be stuck with, a bit of some retina cells, but not all of them. So I'm still able to pick up on light and, very, light things.
Would it just look very dim or what?
Everything, it would, my grandpa actually got to this point, and he described it as having a sheet of wax paper over your, in front of you all the time.
Wax paper? What does wax paper even look like?
I don't know, okay, think about construction paper. You know what I'm talking about with that?
Yeah.
Think about that, take off a layer from one of that, and then place it in front of you, and then a light behind it.
I could imagine that.
Yeah, so
yeah, that would look kind of weird.
You can't see anything in detail, but there's light.
Huh. That's really interesting.
Those headsets kind of try to help people that either are in the infantile state. I keep using that word.
The early stages.
RP. Yeah, the early stages of RP. Early to late, pretty much. That's what they aim to help with.
Well, hopefully all that stuff kind of grows into something more in the next however many years it's gonna take.
There's a lot of movement behind it. It's really great, actually.
It does sound like it would be very helpful. It sounds like it would be really expensive too, which I feel everything that's good it ends up being super expensive.
Yeah, that eSight thing I mentioned is 10,000.
Wow, that is a lot of money.
And I get like that's what on the more affordable price actually. Like that's not insane. Like that's not too much, but.
I I don't know, man. I think that's a lot of money.
Oh yeah, like from our perspective, it definitely is. But like on a worldwide perspective, I guess it's probably like a lot less.
I think to a lot of people, it just kind of seems like, yeah, that's an appropriate price because of how advanced that technology is.
Oh yeah, for sure. But see, like I could have gotten it, and I just decided at the same time, like I don't really need it, and this technology is probably going to be better in a few years.
Yeah, that's probably fair to say. Okay, well, wrapping this up, do you have any final thoughts that you want to say about prosthetics?
Uh, we need to put more funding into them because a lot of good can come from helping people that are handicapped.
That's it? That's all you have to say? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, well, this discussion was very interesting. I actually did learn. I haven't learned since school got out, so it was very refreshing.
Oh yes.
So thank you, Walker. I appreciate that.
Of course.